All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. How we doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Weekend was good, productive. Got some little work trip over to Miami. Productive weekend for sure. Nice, relaxing. Ready to strike. Ready to get out of this slow period. It's definitely been a slow period for me over the last few weeks. Just trying to approach it the right way, trying to slowly grind out of it. Looks like some opportunistic spots today, for sure. Some nice pullback long potential watching that. Also some potential rejections. So, clean spots today. Very excited to see what happens. Got a good game plan set. Game plan started yesterday, last night, into this morning, looking good. So share some of that with you guys today. The sushi was from, what was it called? It was actually a Peruvian place. Really good. I would highly recommend it. It's in Brickell, Miami. It is... Oh, man, what is it called? Hold on. Let me find it for you. Definitely recommend you go check that out if you're ever in the area. Very, very good. It is right down. I'm going on the map to find it because I know where it's at. Osaka. 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 It's got really good ratings. Very good. Definitely check it out. Osaka. Press that like button. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Happy Monday. All right. Yeah, gold is on the move this week. Yes, it is. So far, for sure. All right. Press that like button. Let's get started. Let's jump into it. So today, first things first, economic calendar. Not too much here until the tentative news on Thursday of this week, which is CPI and unemployment claims, and then PPI on Friday and retail sales. So not much to really worry about until then. Bunch of talking heads, CPI, PPI, Thursday, Friday. That's really it for the economic side. On the earnings, we definitely are peppered with some, interesting earnings. I would be watching these this week. I'll go ahead and pull that up right now. So we definitely do have some pretty decent earnings this week. Right here, you can see. Let me make sure this is in the picture. There we go. Let me press into it. Can I zoom in on this, please? Maybe a little bit. That's right. That'll work. Tonight, Rigetti, that's been a sort of, runner that we've been watching. CoreWeave, another runner that's been hot. ASTS tonight, something interesting as well there. Tomorrow, C Limited, something that's always sort of, it's been on a watch for a long time. Stock that's been sort of juicy at times. Aquo, we all know Aquo. Let's see how they report. Let's see if they actually made any money. Circle, another big, runner stock that's reporting earnings. Walt Disney, JD, what else we got? AMAT. So we're peppered with some names that are interesting to watch. Nothing that I'm going to be trading on earnings, but interesting names to watch. Definitely want to see what happens to Aquo. This one's really interesting to me. What happens to Aquo post earnings? What does that look like? That's very intriguing. So I'll be watching that one tomorrow. Okay. So, today, gap up on the market, right? Gap and go. We're going to open up to a pretty major gap. So if you look at the SPY, the close was here. The gap, the open will be here. So we're going to open on up on a pretty major gap up on the market. So that is something to be cautionary today. And I have some very nice pullback long areas that I would be looking for. And that would be the A+ trade that I would be waiting for today. So let me go ahead and dive into that with you. Nasdaq futures, you can see here on the 4-hour chart, we have the major previous highs. This was our original sort of pullback long thesis was back here. It was a pullback long back to that 25.4, 25.4. All right, that was where I sort of was on the wrong side here on that on last week where I was looking for that 24.5 retest long. And we sort of just got smoked up here and fell under it. Now, the interesting thing today is that we are back above 25.4. So this is really intriguing to me. Does 25.4 step back up as a new low? I would love to see 25.4 get tested today. That is really what I think should happen. I don't know if it will happen, but I will be, in my opinion, I think it is right to be patient to see if it does get tested today. I would be hard-pressed to long before that gets tested. I really think you want to see that get tested in the intraday trading and see if it does show up strong today. You would like to see these previous highs prove themselves as a new low. That would be the ultimate sort of higher low type of look that I would need to be confident that this is actually starting to reverse or attempting to reverse back to the upside. So 25.4 Nasdaq futures, those previous 4-hour highs, can we see a pullback and hold at that level today? If we go down to the 30-minute chart, you can see that is right in here. So it's right there at 25.4. Can we get a little pullback? Can we, give back some of this gap up? And can we turn 25.4 back into support? If we do not hold that 25.4, then I could see the market, if this wants to work for me, I could see this market, if we fail back under that 25.4, I definitely could see the case for pulling back to that Thursday low at 25.2. So there's your Thursday low. That's a big spot right there. And when you reclaim that here, you can see we gapped up. So do we need to come back to 25.2 or can we hold 25.4? I would love to see those retracements today on the Nasdaq futures. I would prefer if we didn't just go vertically up off the open. If we do go vertically up off the open, it would be because of a daily 20 SMA reclaim. And we would probably be targeting these highs up here at 25,850, 25,900. But I would prefer to get a little pullback and then long, right? Back to the 25.4, show me strength there, get back over the daily 20, and then start rocking and rolling back to the upside. That would be more preferable. That would be not, trading on a gap and go, but we'll have to see what the market provides. It may not provide that for us, but that would be what I would like to see. The level that you are sort of failing at this morning, which I really don't even consider this a fail right now, it's sort of just a slowdown, is right here. If you guys remember that high from that Friday, that is 25,570. You can see that we previously had a little failure there, then a gap up into this level at 25.7. You can see that that's the little area that sort of slowed down this rally so far this morning. You can see right here, 25,570 is pretty much on the dot. The high that came in at 4 a.m. this morning, 25,570 right there. So right now, you can see the daily 20 SMA has flipped into a support level. It's possible that you just say, hey, I'm going to hold this daily 20 and continue higher, get through 25,570. If you turn that into support, maybe you just go gap and go today. That's very possible. I would prefer to see us fail the 570, pull back, come back to the 400, and then see if we can get a more clean and controlled retest long before having to long into a gap up. One of my kryptonites is gap ups and getting aggressive before the gap gets filled or at least partial retracements happen. So very cautious of that today. I don't want to be long before a retracement does come in. I think it's the right mindset to look for a retracement. I know that's not the FOMO mindset. The FOMO mindset is get long as soon as possible because this thing's going straight up. But the mindset that I have learned to be the right mindset is likely to look for that retracement move. So we'll be cautious today. If we just go vertical off the open, it's going to be hard. Over 570 could be a reason to look for it. But really this whole area, if I was to be honest, this whole area right here is a tough area to be chasing within. You'd really like to see that and that rather than just start chasing it into the center of this channel and get a rejection anywhere inside this upside of this channel up here. So for me, 25.4, that's the watch. I'm not going to say it again. I keep repeating the same thing. That's my watch, daily 20, 25.4. And finally, I'll put that level back on, the Friday high at 25,570 right here. Right there. 25,570. Could be an influential spot as well. My computer seems to be slowing down, and I'm surprised I'm not dropping frames. All right. So far, so good. All right. So that's that. Nasdaq, S&P 500 futures. We are right on the line on the S&P 500 futures. You can see right here, we have the previous highs on the 4-hour chart at 68.12 right here, and these highs here at 67.90. Can we turn these highs right here back into support. That is going to be my main watch. 67.90 to 68.12. You guys should remember how that 68.12 level has reacted in the past. Do we see a demand step up within this give or take 20-point range on the S&P 500? Can we turn these previous highs back into support? If we fail back under 67.90, I would assume that the S&P 500 has a downside move to fill the gap and possibly come back down to that low around 67.50. So in my opinion, on the S&P 500, you want to see that 67.90, that 68.12 area right here turn into a new support. That is those 4-hour highs. If this holds like it did in the overnight session, that keeps you higher up towards the 68.40, 68.50 level. If you fail under 67.90, I would assume you do see some of this gap up get filled right in here, possibly back down to that 67.50, which would then be an interesting spot to see if a new long steps in, right down in there. So cautious there on the ES, watching this zone, seeing how this reacts today, and then also just very aware that we are trading back into the exact rejection point that caused the major fail on Thursday of last week. So you can see right here, previous lows into rejection highs, and we are sort of right back into that area. So that is a very cautionary area. What's the ultimate upside move that would just be like, okay, I think we're just sort of easily going higher? It would definitely be the reclaim of 67 or 68.50, right? I mean, if you turn these triple bottom lows and these triple top highs back into a support, I think that's a pretty much no-brainer that this market's trying to reclaim and go higher. So you are right on edge there at 68.50. That's a big spot. Can we hold the 68.12, 67.90 zone and that daily 20 today? That's going to be very interesting for me to watch. SPY. So the SPY is right into the previous triple bottom lows, previous triple top highs, and you can see we're trading right there again. This is the level today. This is my number one level today. You can see it on the whiteboard behind me. It's 674 on the SPY. It's the title of the live stream. This is the spot that I want to be watching. It's right here. It's the previous all-time highs. It's the level from the Trump announcement that caused major downside. It's this high right here. And you can see it is also the daily 20 SMA. And it would also be the gap fill reversal. There is so much confluence at 674 today. That really is the level that I would want to wait for. You have major all-time highs, double top highs. You have the daily 20 SMA there. And on top of that, that would fill the gap up on the SPY right around this zone here. That would really be, for me, the best pullback long to look for, right in there. 673, 674. If we can get that pullback today, that would be a major watch for me. That would, I wouldn't just instantly long that, of course, but I would be definitely interested to see what the price action looks like here. Are we getting a nice hold? Are we seeing higher lows start to build again? And do we start to see that market push back to the upside after retracing back to 674? Super interesting watch there. That's my top watch, without a doubt. Really no risk reward right now to long this open right into these highs. I mean, you would be longing right into this, right into this, right into this, right here, which is also these previous lows. So I would like to see this market fail off the open, pull back into this level, maybe trap some shorts here, and then reverse off 674. If we do not hold 674, that's no bueno. That is a must hold for me. You break back under 673 in the daily 20, right in here, you likely see us trade back to the 668, 669. So for me to be long today, I need to pull back to 674. That's pretty much it. If it is not a hold there, and I don't see anything there, then I would stay away from the long side. That's the spot for me, right there. Can we get it? That's the question. Can we get it? Okay. Wow, this TOS is really going slow. What the hell do I have open? Why is this so slow today? I mean, I do have a lot of things open, but it doesn't feel like enough to slow it down this much. Let me close this. Should have enough juice in this computer, man. Should have enough juice. Let's close this. Let's close it all. Okay. QQQ. Similar, right? Similar to the SPY. 613. That's the spot for me, right? Looking at this. Oh, that's what. Yeah, that worked. Feels better now. Right here, and right here. That's my A plus higher low, left shoulder, right shoulder. One of these right here. You need to see. I mean, it's not always, but it is very typical. When the market bottoms, it bottoms off an inverse head and shoulder. That is it's very typical to what we've seen on these market bottoms, right? So, like, for example, this little reversal here, you have left shoulder, right shoulder, head, right? You have a little low, lower low, that's then a higher low, right? That's sort of how the market likes to bottom. You have, this is a little bit sloppier, but you can see right here, it's a higher low, right? You always need to look for where that higher low steps in. Can we get a higher low that establishes itself after a drop, right? So after this drop, can we get a higher low? We have not, right? So that's why the market has not bounced fully or is not confident yet. Here was a low, but we made a lower low, all right? So now today, the job is, can we make a higher low somewhere? Can we establish a higher low area on this market and leave behind this low and these shorts and trap these shorts and then curl back higher, right? Can we get that to develop? That's what we need to see happen. So for now, where does that happen? Well, in my opinion, that happens right here at the 613 on the Qs. It's these highs, it's these lows, it's where we failed back under, it's where we've reclaimed, and now can we get that higher low to establish itself and see something on the intraday that gives us confidence that that is holding. So for me, that 613 is definitely a spot I'd like to see hold. That will also be down towards that daily 20 zone, give or take a few points, right down into here. Can we turn these lows, these rejections here, back into support? And most importantly, can we turn these previous major 4-hour highs, really daily chart highs? If we go to the daily chart, you can see right here on the daily chart, look at that daily rejection and daily rejection. If we see a daily candle that wicks off this level, something like this, right? If we see something like this, let's call it, just like that, that would be super interesting for the reversal trade. All right, if we get a strong daily candle that says, okay, I'm turning those highs back into support right here, that's the move you want to look for, right? That's where you can say, okay, this looks pretty good. Higher low, back above these highs. Now I can look to, trade it off that daily 20 hold. This could be super nice. So that's what I'm looking for. That's today. Can we get it? Similar to the SPY at that 674, previous daily chart highs. Can we get that little wick candle that holds that daily 20 and creates a higher low at these highs right here? So let's see. That's the game plan, and that's what I'll be looking for. Press that like button. If you guys could, 2,500 people here, 800 likes. If you guys could, please take a second, press that like button for me. Continue to help me grow these live streams. I would appreciate that. IWM, we talked about that 240 demand low last week, and boy, oh boy, what a long that was off that level, and continuing to look pretty strong this morning. Not really interesting in, the entry point sort of gone. To be quite honest, this is that channel that you were trading in and you bounced off the channel lows. So, if you want to take IWM for a ride today, you're going to be looking for like 245, 246 area. You're going to be looking to see if you can reclaim that daily 20. That's what I would be looking for. If you want to look for that ride, however, that would be a sort of negative risk reward. Personally, I in my opinion, because you'd be longing it right back into 248, 249. So it's super tight there, but if you want to look for the small caps to make another move, I would be looking for that daily 20 to reclaim today. That's really the spot. Gold making a beautiful upside move last night and into this morning. Really good reclaim of the 40-60, 40-80 spot. I mean, look at this. Super clean. So nice curl off these lows. If you guys remember, I talked about that short being over back into these lows. It sure as hell was. Consolidation range. We've been waiting for it to get out of the consolidation. And look at this. we have broken the consolidation. So gold getting strong again is definitely on the watch. You can see right here these highs at 40.80. You can see these highs right here at 40.60. And take a look what 40.80 did this morning. I mean, look at the perfect hold right above 40.80. Look at this. Perfect. I mean, that is just dead on 40.80 perfect holds right there. So that's quite interesting, right? 40.80, 40.60 zone. Can you turn that into support? If that holds, I don't see a reason why gold would not go back to 41.70, 4,200, right? I mean, you probably navigate right back to here. Right in here, 41.75, 4,200. That would be my if this holds true, that would be the spot. Turn that into support and back into there. Structure is definitely intact. So you have structure, and you are structuring back into this area. That's as long as you hold 40.80, 40.60 zone. Really nice. Definitely on watch. What's GLD look like today? Yeah, GLD. Okay, so perfect demand in that zone there between the 363, 360 zone. I would say if GLD can hold above right here, it's that 372, 373, 50 area right here. Yeah, if you can hold that on GLD, I'd say you trade up into these highs right around this 382, 380 zone. Yeah, right into 380s. The entry point, though, would need to be on the retest of these 372, 373 highs. That would be the proper entry point, not chasing it here. So it would be nice to get a pullback into that daily 20, hold this area, and then find an entry point right here. We'll see if we can get that. Okay. All right. That's it for that. Let's move on. If you guys could press that like button. Once again, another reminder. Also another reminder that this Sunday, coming up, next Sunday, our stream, don't miss it. 16th, 17th, 18th, free to join. Just got to go down to the registration link down below. I've heard some of you guys have problems with that link. If you're having problems with that link, it is likely something to do with your browser. So, best answer I can give you is try a different browser. If you're using Chrome, try Safari or try, Microsoft. What is it? Microsoft Edge? Is that what it's called now? Try a different browser or try a different device. If it's not working on your phone, try it on your desktop. That's really all I could say, because I think some people have been having problems, but we don't see any problems on our end. It's just some kind of I guess it's a cache. Possibly try to clear your cache or incognito mode, something. But yeah, make sure to sign up to that for free next Sunday, this upcoming Sunday. That'll be fun. All right. Let's jump into some stocks. Tesla. Not that interested today, to be honest. Not that interested. You can see right here, 450 is now back into a failure point for me. So I would need Tesla to be back over 450, back over the daily 20 to get interested. You are now just, this is, again, guys, it's the Chinese finger trap, right? We've been talking about this. The Chinese finger trap has now lasted for almost 2 months. 2 months, right? Look at this. So there's been some nice opportunistic spots for sure. There's been some nice scalps off these lows. There's been some nice fades off the highs. Don't get me wrong. But, man, you got to be on it the exact day. And when you're inside of the middle of the channel, that is the worst time to look for it. So for today, pretty much hands off Tesla, not interested. So many better opportunities out there for me. So, yeah, staying away from this one. But, hey, you know Tesla. There could be just a random day of some crazy movement. So we'll see. We'll watch it on the intraday. But for right now, the bigger picture just does not look that inviting. NVIDIA. So NVIDIA bouncing strong off that 185 level. You are right back into these rejection highs right here, which I am cautious of. NVIDIA earnings also approaching next week, so a little bit careful as we approach earnings. This little rejection point here is starting to show around the 194, 195s, so a little bit careful there. I think it's without saying that the best opportunity is a gap fill back to the daily 20, back to 190. That's just definitely the spot to be looking for today. Gap fill, daily 20, 190 previous highs. That's just, without a doubt, the spot to look for. So 190 here, 190 here, 4-hour highs, 190 here, 190 here, pullback, look to see if that holds. That would be the only spot for me today. 190 daily 20 pullback, that's the spot I'd be watching. AMD, this is a very interesting watch because this is such a clean level here at 244. You have a super clean 4-hour triple top rejection at 244 right here. And you can see we moved right into that here in the pre-market at 244. So, you know, the interesting trade, there's two of them. One of them is the reclaim long, reclaim 244, reclaim daily 20, reclaim these 4-hour highs, and see if the semis can get hot again. That's definitely one. Trade two, if you are looking for fades today, you can look to see if that 244 rejects again and that daily 20 rejects again. A little bit tough in my book to short this market until you fail back under some key demands, right? I really don't think I want to be shorting yet back into these demands, like on this QQQ. I don't think I would want to be short on if this pullback holds. So something to be a little bit careful there about. It technically would be the clean rejection move. If AMD does fail here today, that would be the exact failure of these highs. So could be a nice watch if you see something on the intraday that gives you a reason to look short there. But for me, to start the day, I will definitely be watching what happens at this 244. Super clean level. I mean, look at this rejection here. Beautiful failure there. Beautiful failure here. Do you fail again, or do you turn this into a new low and maybe trade this back up to like this 255 area, fill in this downside move, something along these lines here. So, yeah, definitely intrigued by 244 today on AMD. One of my top watches without a doubt. Broadcom, interesting, but still under that 360, 365. You can see I still have my alerts set there, so nothing new there. MU is just absolutely out of this world. Still going higher. New all-time highs today. Beautiful hold on this pullback to 230. I have a hard time chasing this one, but the reality is if you hold 245 today, you're going to go higher, right? That's really the reality of it. If you hold this high, and the lows that are holding in the pre-market, you're going higher. So if semis are strong, watch MU 245. If you get a hold at that 245 again, it's going to keep going. So something you could watch there. Really not that much on Qualcomm. Really not that much on MRVL. Nice pullback hold at 85, but really not much there. TSM, really not that interested either today. Let me zoom out on TSM. Yeah, just sort of right in that channel. Nothing really there for me. So, yeah, semiconductor watch for me is pretty much AMD, NVIDIA, and a little bit of that Broadcom 360, 365, and possibly a little bit of that MU, just super strong 245 level. So that's that for the semis. On the SMH, you can see, I think you do want to be a little bit careful on the SMH up into this previous high, around 361, 362. That looks like a very potential failure point right here. The best opportunity on the SMH is 348, 350, something like this. That is a sick opportunity there if we do get that. So SMH, really good hold of these lows. The 335, 336 lows, huge bounce off that exact level. So definitely strong there. This would be such a money pullback right here. One of these right here. That would be so good. Let's see if we get it. Okay. Moving on. Apple, not much. Just still channeling sideways. However, this is still bullish consolidation. So I would keep your eyes peeled. It's absolutely holding the exact lows it needs to hold. It continues to reject the exact rejection points. It is simply just stuck inside of this channel. But if it stays strong above these lows and that daily 20 SMA continues to catch up, at some point you're going to see that move. It's only a matter of time, it looks like. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled. I don't like anything yet, but definitely keep an eye on that. Amazon, this one's interesting. So take a look at Amazon. Amazon, if you guys remember, Amazon had that big move higher, and there was one thing we said on this live stream, and it was that you will get a pullback to the previous all-time highs. And you can see that that is exactly what we did. So, again, waiting for the pullbacks on retest levels, wins again. Amazon had that big gap up. We said we need to get a pullback to previous all-time highs, and take a look what happened. Previous all-time highs in the weekly, previous highs in the weekly. Look at the pullback right into that zone. 239, 242. We go to the hourly chart. We can see that we are right inside of that zone on that pullback. So this one's interesting, right? Does it need the full gap fill right here? That's something I'm a little cautious of. Does it need to pull back more into that gap fill area? Possibly. That's going to be depending on what the market shows us. But if we look at this 4-hour chart, I am definitely intrigued if Amazon can clear out these highs from Thursday of last week at 251, 250.85. If we see that breakout of 251, 250.85, if we see us get it back above these Thursday rejections right here, right here, right here, that's pretty interesting. So I would definitely be watching that. You can see I have my alert set right at around that 250.85 area. Meta. So far, I'm liking my dip buy on the shares. Meta's, trying to build out of this zone. We did fill the daily gap. We also pulled back to these weekly highs. So right here, these weekly highs here around 603. So we filled that gap. We pulled back to these weekly highs. You're starting to see some life come out of it. There is one thing that needs to be done, and it is super clean here. This is probably my top watch on the large cap tech today is Meta, to see if it can get back above the 642, 645 area. If you can turn these lows, these highs, and these highs right here back into some type of a higher low area, I think that is a super clean flip back above that previous rejection point. So Meta getting more interesting by the day. Let's continue to monitor it. Let's not fire early. I think that's the spot. 643, 645. Keeping very close eyes on that. Google. Nice consolidation. Really nothing wrong with it. You can see just sort of sideways consolidation above that 272. A plus for me would still be back to 258. Don't think we're going to get it though, because Google's just a super strong outperformer. This 272 is holding well. Looking at the hourly chart, there's really just one level here around 290 that I would want to see clear out. 290, 290. If you can clear that out, that could get interesting for more upside. If I look at the weekly chart, it's definitely on the extended side, so I'm cautious. And when I look at this weekly chart, this is just such an A-plus prime opportunity. This weekly high right here back at 258, if you got to pull back to that, that would be such a good watch. If you look at this daily chart, that's right here back to these highs at 258. That would be such a good watch. So I am a little bit cautious of getting long Google this elevated. That 258 level is such a good spot to be looking for. But for now, that 272 just continues to hold. So you may just not get that pullback. All right, this 272 is just holding it strong. So 272, 258, 290, keeping those on watch. Palantir, Palantir, I'm going to need 190 for Palantir because I just don't want to get caught in this again. Like, you were caught in this for quite some time and you're caught back in it. So, yeah, not much for me on Palantir today. As good as this looks off this low, I think you had to be long off this low. I don't think there's any, I don't think you have much business chasing it off this low back into these highs at 190. Maybe if you can get like a daily 50 to shape up really clean here on some kind of pullback. But for me, at this point, I just don't like longing back into that 190 spot right here. I mean, that's a pretty nasty rejection, and you're much closer to that than you are to the demand lows. I mean, here's your gap to 190. Here's your gap to 180 or 170s. So you're much closer to the rejection highs right now on Palantir than you are to the major demand lows. That's a little concerning. Maybe a little pullback higher low that gets built here at this daily 50. That looks like it could be a nice play. If you can get a little pullback long back at that daily 50, 180 area, that could be pretty clean. Something like this. Maybe that facilitates a higher low for you for a move into the 190. But a reclaim above 190 would be a super interesting watch. I'll put an alert 190, see if Palantir gets above it today. Oklo. Very nice hold on Oklo, except there's earnings. So really no trades for me. Oklo has earnings tomorrow. It would be a very strong, I think you'd rip very aggressively if you got above this 123. If you got back above this high, back above these highs, back above these lows, back above this low right here, if you saw a reclaim back above the daily 50, above 123, I think you'd rip, personally. But right now you're still below it. So you're probably just going to get trapped in this zone here before earnings. That would be my assumption. Aqua premiums are going to be out of control today, just so you know. eBay. Shout out Tim from the mentorship. Watching this eBay. Good read here. So take a look at this weekly chart on eBay, guys. I'm going to delete these levels for a moment. I just want you to look at the weekly chart with me. Look at this weekly chart on eBay. What do you see? You see major weekly highs. You see a weekly high right here. You see a breakout move, right? You see all the chasers that have been burned alive. And you see the perfect retest starting to hold. The perfect retest. Previous highs holding right now in the weekly candle. This is very interesting, very intriguing. I would be keeping eyes on this as a bigger picture opportunity. If eBay can hold, you also have the daily 200 here. That's another added benefit, another huge daily moving average there. One thing I would say is be careful trading this on the short term. It's a very low liquidity move. It doesn't have the volume that something like a Tesla would have, so the intraday candles look like shit, to be honest. So you really want to trade something like this on the daily chart. Watching that previous daily low around 87.75 right here, looking to see if you can reclaim that. If you can reclaim that 87.75, this high, and that daily 100 SMA, I think you get a gap fill. So, yeah, this is a big watch for me. Going to be keeping an eye on eBay today. 83.53, sorry, is also an interesting spot here. 83.53. If you hold above that, I'd say you go to the 87. That would be a hold above this daily high right here, 83.53. So eBay, interesting watch, bigger picture watch, definitely something to keep eyes on. Coinbase, also another bigger picture watch. Weekly chart on Coinbase. 2024 highs from March, 2024 highs from July. Those are two major 2024 highs. That is also a high right here back in May of 2025 before ripping through it and going vertically higher. Where have you come back to? You have come back down to the exact breakout point and the previous highs at 277. Not only that, 277 is the daily 200 SMA, and it bounced aggressively off that level just last week. So, if Bitcoin can find the juice, if you find more Bitcoin upside, which is up 2.75% today, up $2,700, and I did buy some Bitcoin, actually. I bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin at like 100,000, 101,000. So that's looking pretty good. I wish I bought more, of course, now. But I had some money floating around. I was like, you know what? I like this Bitcoin pullback. Let's grab a little bit. Something I don't care about. So that's good. Up nicely on that. But obviously, I'd like to get a bigger position on that. But if that does continue, this Coinbase watch is definitely on the radar. You have a little bit of a 4-hour high here around 324. You do have the daily moving averages stacked up above around 340, which could be tough as well. It's a little bit tough to see where you want to be long here because of this very sloppy sort of downtrending noise here. So it is sort of hard to see where to get that move. But man, is that 277 interesting. Man, is that interesting. So that is something to watch. That is something to watch there. Microsoft, I'm going to show you the spot that this needs to pull back to. Oh, that's MicroStrategy, sorry. MSTR is also in a good spot, by the way. Microsoft. For me, nothing in Microsoft until we get to 468. This is an opportunity that I would look big picture on. Right here. Right here. 468. That is so beautiful. Not sure we'll get that, but that would be the only spot I would trade Microsoft. Right here. Besides that, Microsoft is a terrible stock to trade intraday. It makes basically no moves on an intraday basis. And so the bigger picture would be the way to trade it for me. And it would be here. 468. That's so clean. These weekly highs. So keep your eyes on that. If you liked UNH back at 400, you probably should like UNH back to where it is now. Take a look at this weekly chart on UNH. Look at this weekly consolidation here. Look where you've pulled back to. If you wanted to try to chase UNH here at 400, you should be more interested now at 300. This is very interesting on UNH. Take a look at this daily chart. You have a really nice consolidation here. You squeezed, and look what you've done. You've retested. So, once again, you retest the breakout point, all right? You squeezed, no retest. Where are you going to retest? Well, you finally did it. So, that's pretty interesting. I would be watching UNH to find strength again here. I'd obviously need to see it, find that strength before I just instantly long it. But this is definitely a spot to be watching UNH on this pullback. If you liked it up here, there's no reason to not like it on this pullback into demand. So keep an eye on this over the next few days. I'm going to set an alert. I'll probably set an alert back over this 320. What's this high right here? 326. I'll probably set an alert above that, because if it gets above that, then I'll know that something happened. I'll know that we got some juice going on. CrowdStrike. This one's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Jeez, man. I did not expect this to be this clean with markets going down last week. It did not care at all. Just a ridiculous example of break and retest longs. Ridiculous. Weekly chart, weekly highs, perfect hold of that weekly high, retest long. Daily chart, daily high, pullback 518, daily 20, just a perfect long. 4-hour chart, you can see 2 days in a row. We held that 518 and daily 20 both Thursday and Friday of last week, like the market was going up. This thing was trading as if the market was going straight up. Unbelievable. 518, bam, bam, and 2 beautiful longs. I did not expect it to go up again on Friday, and it sure as hell did. So, just one that got away from me. That's the one that got away. Sing it. Sing the Katy Perry song. For sure. I just couldn't find the cojones. I couldn't find them to be long this with the market going down. I just couldn't do it. But hey, there's your outlier move on CrowdStrike. Unbelievable. Pretty sick. The trade's over. The only trade now is a break and retest of the highs. But yeah, congratulations to anyone that caught that, man. Congratulations. Sick trade. Great example of our strategy. Hood, really nothing for me on Hood today. Maybe pullbacks to 130, daily 50, but besides that, nothing. This is going to be a little bit of a dark horse watch for me today. Actually, probably, I am buying shares of this today, actually. I'm going to probably throw in 100 shares of NP today, $6,000. Rare Earth, strong to end last week. And just overall, a very opportunistic sector, I guess you could call it, an interesting sector, the sector that could be, that's sort of the vibe behind Rare Earth right now. Could it be a whole, smoke and mirrors? Maybe. That's very possible. But Rare Earth, definitely something that's necessary and very much talked about. And this MP stock has just pulled back to pretty much the exact weekly highs that you want to be long off of. So if you look at this stock, if you look at MP, this is MP Materials, Rare Earths company out of Nevada. Previous highs. This is back from 2021 and 2022. These highs right here, that is between 51.77 and 60.19. If I go to the 4-hour chart, you can see that this is the exact level that we have held right in here. We're holding the daily 200 on this pullback. And if I show you one more thing, look at 60.19 this morning. It is perfectly holding at 60.19. The last thing I want to show you is this daily low right here. Actually, I'm sorry. I want to show you the weekly low. This weekly low right here. Right there. 61.40. So if you turn these weekly lows and those previous daily highs from 2021 and 2022 at 60.19 into support, that is right where we're at right now. So this is a very interesting spot for me today. I want to be looking to see if this starts to find juice again. I am interested in looking for pullbacks on this sector, not chasing it into highs. So this is a very interesting pullback opportunity on a strong sector and one of the top names in that sector. So keeping eyes on it very closely today. Some upgrades this morning. Deutsche Bank upgrade. There was earnings last week, which held post-earnings, bounced post-earnings, which I do like as well. So, yeah, put this on the watch list. Put MP on the watch list. Know that it's a very volatile sector. Know that. But an interesting one. Okay. Nasdaq just floating underneath 570 this morning. Would love the pullback long. The QQQ back to 613. The SPY back to 674. That would be the first thing I want to look for today. All right, guys. That's going to be it. Those are some of my watches today. That's my analysis. If you guys could, before you head out, please press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Remember that 674 level. Engrave it in your brain today. Look for that pullback. Can I look at Kodak? What's Kodak doing? Yeah, I'm not sure I would be involved in this stock. These stocks, to be honest, Justin, are going to have to be like your own self-belief, man. This is not something I'm going to give you. I don't want to influence people to buy these types of stocks, okay? Like, I don't want to be the reason that this thing goes back to $1. So if you like Kodak for some reason, you're just going to have to run it yourself, man. It's probably not a bad spot. I mean, it's probably not going to go much lower than, actually, yeah, the low was $2. So if you want to just take a long shot, maybe. How's that SanDisk stock doing? What's a SanDisk? What is SanDisk ticker? SND, what is it? That thing's been hot. Is it still hot? Yes. Holy crap. It's still hot. Oh my God. Wow. Friday was vertical, huh? Can you give me some kind of an entry point? 214? Okay. We'll see if that happens. That thing's been rock solid. What was the other one? The hard drive stock that we were talking about? Who's got that for me? The hard drive stock. I put that on the watch list. What was that hard drive stock? WDC? That was it. How's that thing doing? Okay. Up again. Damn. Up $7 in the pre-market. $167.50. Wow. Look at that hold. Okay. SPY 674. That's the spot. SPY 674. Let's see if we get it. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love.